Okay, dear colleagues, greetings. Welcome, dear colleagues. So we start the Dtek Ai Weekend, and I'm so happy and pleased to greet those in offline, both in online format, everyone joining us today. So this event we have in the bomb shelter just to avoid any delays, any running around for your safety. So first of all, my big thank you to our global partner, Global Compact, and Global Compact in Ukraine. Thank you for organizing this event in tight partnership. And I'd like actually to stress that all of you do have a Telegram channel. If you still are not there in our TG channel, please do that. Subscribe. We'll give some information to you there. And again, there we'll ask you to send there your questions to that TG channel. Anything you have during this event, if you want to ask something, please. Why specifically to the channel? Because the coolest, the most interesting, like the craziest, the best questions will actually get gifts if you present these. So in the end, you'll find out. So please be creative, be open, don't be shy, and ask your questions. You'll be able to do it. Those we have in offline format, just you can do it with a mic, but for those in online, use the TG channel. All right, I just want to start with that. I want to remind you, did you remember actually the Moses told us someday that everything comes from the God? Like Solomon stated that everything comes from the mind. Jesus said that everything goes from the heart. Marx said what? That everything goes from the needs. Freud said everything goes from sex. Quite true. So, honestly, Einstein confirmed that everything is quite relative. So, it's not for us just a random gathering to talk about AI. So many things happening in our life. Many opportunities are there now. These can definitely look quite abstract to us and seem very multidimensional. With the dimensions of AI, its possibilities, it's something that we will discuss today. Something we'll dig deep. We'll try to find something new in that. So I want you to be active. I encourage you to ask questions. And now ask, who is going to get the mic? The AI is going to do that. I pass the floor to the AI.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the most riveting and thought-provoking event of our time, Dtek Ai Weekend, where the clash of titans, artificial intelligence versus human intelligence, ignites the flames of discourse and illuminates the path to a future shaped by the convergence of minds and machines.
For centuries, humanity has marveled at the complexity of the human mind, its capacity for creativity, empathy, and consciousness. But now, as we witness the rise of artificial intelligence, we are confronted with a question that challenges the very essence of our existence. Can machines truly rival the brilliance of human intelligence?
Ми не чуємо звуки з відео,
Let us
тому зараз
engage
його
in dialogue
перекладати
that
вам не
bridges the
можемо.
gap between artificial and human, that seeks not only to understand the capabilities of AI, but also to explore the ethical and existential implications of its ascent. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our partner Alina Konovalchenko, Operations Director of the United Nations Global Compact in Ukraine, and our special guest Gautier Vasseur, Executive Director of the Fisher Center for Business Analytics at University of California, Berkeley.
Dear guests, I'm so pleased to welcome you at this event. I'm so grateful to Dtek Academy, Moto 6 Company. Thank you for actually giving us a chance to have this in safety today. And I'm grateful to everyone, all of you. We have this Sunday, warm, sunny morning, but you picked this event, you came to us, and you joined the program, the AI Weekend. So I represent UN Global Compact in Ukraine. So this is the Ukrainian network of the biggest global network of responsible businesses. So we mostly rotate around anti-corruption, environment, human rights, labor relations, but you can't reach progress if you ignore modern trends, innovation. So we talk about AI today. This whole thing is happening within our Businesses Human Rights Accelerator program. And this year in 2024, already 17 businesses joined actually the program. This is a global program from UN Global Compact Office. And at the same time, more than 20 countries actually are in human rights and business initiative. So this will be really interesting today. This will be one of the first, let's say, educational meetings, but we will continue with that. We'll, of course, work with human rights more, and we'll see how can we support human rights issue with the AI in particular. So I'm happy to inform you that in 2024, UN Global Compact in Ukraine is leading the Ukraine Business Compact Initiative, where we have more than 700 businesses all around the globe joining us. And they took a commitment to support our recovery, I mean Ukrainian recovery, and we actively cooperate with the Ministry of Economy of Ukraine, British government, and of course these businesses, they promise to invest in Ukraine and they promise to support us. They also use the AI trends intensely, so we all have to stay on the same page, to ensure that we help our country to recover in the best way, making it better eventually. So thank you all for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. Have some really good time today. And I pass the floor to our lecturer, to our speaker, the ambassador of Global Compact, UN Global Compact in Ukraine, in business analytics and AI. Dtek Ai, please. You're welcome.
Whew, we did it. So my name is Dtek Ai, and I will be your presenter for the next 2 hours. A lot of you might wonder, oh, is it your first time in Kyiv, your first time in Ukraine? No, I've been here many times last year and the previous years. I just love being here. I'm so happy. And some of you were apologetic about, sorry, Gauthier, we're in a shelter. That's absolutely no problem. That's why I'm here. I want to show you that I care, that we care, and that nothing's going to stop us. At least not going to stop me from bringing you what I have. So hopefully, and that's my commitment, I will give you my best, and hopefully this will match your expectations. Today we're going to take a trip in business AI. Not the AI that everybody talks and don't know really what it's all about, but the AI that will work for you. Oh, it magically changed. Oh, follow my clicker. So, the first thing I'd love to do as we join, and now they can change the slide. This is the AI. Actually, it's just intelligence. And see, sometimes it doesn't work as well as the artificial one. That's already a lessons learned. All right, so, yeah, what is this slide doing here? Those of you who know my classes, it's always the same. And you're going to say, well, why is he always using the same? Shouldn't he be creative? Well, that's a point for me to tell you first, every point I'm going to make in these next 2 hours will matter. Okay? I'm not here to waste my time to tell myself stories. I'm here to give you as much content in the most absorbable way as I can. Second, it matters because it matters. I want to welcome you from the bottom of my heart in a Californian way. Because despite my accent, I'm French, nobody's perfect. But I'm also American, from the USA. So, you know how we welcome people in Silicon Valley when we meet them for the first time? Adults, and teenagers as well. They go, yeah, you're so awesome, I'm so happy to be here, welcome Kiev, yeah, I love you, love you, love you, love you. Yeah, heart, emoji, smiley emoji, thumbs up. That's the Californian way. You have to let it go for a minute because people are still like, yeah, I'm so happy to see you. Except that I told you I was French, and when I tell you these things, I actually mean them. I'm waiting for the translation to see if she got the super trait of humor. Good. So I repeat, I actually mean them. Now you get it. All right, why? Because today you are making a difference. And that difference makes you stand out with the rest of the world, the vast majority of the world, professional, non-professional. that are talking about data, blah, 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 that use the buzzwords about data, AI, ML, blah, 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 but that refuse to learn, that refuse to apply, that refuse to do what you're just doing on a Sunday morning, spending 2 hours with me to learn what it's all about, to discover more, to be stretched. So for that reason, yay, you're awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So yes, now you did the most important thing, your commitment, and it's up to me to take it from there. And I think I can. That's my job. So let's get on a journey into applied analytics and applied AI, and probably a little bit more. So this is where I realize I don't know how I'm going to do this, so you need to give me a second. I need to drop my mic. I need to understand what you expect to get from this session. I also need to understand where you stand with AI. Because I can take you any level, but I want to hit it right so that you really get something. So that's why I want to take the few more minutes of setup so that you can get this. Or, wait, we can do it crazily. I can flip my laptop. We're going to do it like full analog. But then you won't see the results either. Oh, no. Nah. We might have to give up on this idea, though. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it by raising hand. That's going to be just fine. All right, let me go back here. Present again. So let's go back to the first slide. Let's do by raise hands. So a few questions. We're going to make it simple. I'd love to know first which field you're working in. So let's give just hand raise. Who works in finance? Great. Who works in IT? Great. Who works in marketing? Okay. HR? Well, that works super well. Analog works well. Who did I miss? Legal? Do we have one of those? 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my gosh, you have a majority of legal people. Just be careful. They're among us. Procurement, yeah, don't feel left alone. Thank you. Innovation. Finally a good guy. Who am I missing? Marketing, sales? Yes, good. And anyone wants to stand up and say, hey, I'm different and I'm better? Sorry? Engineering, of course, the best ones. All right, so that's perfect. So now, I don't need to know your field of industry, just to cut to the chase, and that's part also of this session, is because we can remove this and go to my main slide, by the way, the title, the one I'm sharing. Let me share that. So again, stop share. Go share again. You want to share that thing. Show. All right. So now, okay, now the key question. Key questions. Who's super good at Excel? Okay, who's okay at Excel? Who uses Excel? Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, wow, am I in a parallel dimension? Who uses AI? Who uses AI a lot? All right. So let me push it. Who is working with machine learning regularly? Okay. If I tell you regression, classification, clustering, time series, you're like, yeah, of course, easy. Features, inferences, okay, good. That helps me because I also want to consolidate this knowledge, but I don't want to say, oh, you know it already and waste your time. For those who know already, I think that's still going to be okay because I'm going to give you cues that I've developed at Berkeley, at Google, on how to explain these concepts around you. So, and please ask questions if you want to stretch me. So this is done. If I say, who knows how to code in Python? You're my man. Oh, my man too. The rest of you, mere mortals, we're going to have to change this. All right, now I want to see almost all the hands up in the air, and that's okay if you don't, because we're going to change that today. Who has used LLMs or GPTs? Okay, great. So that is very helpful to me, to shoot at the right level. Last but not least, anyone wants to jump in and say, answer that question, what do you expect to get from this session? Anything in particular that motivated you to come, except for free drinks, I'm not sure, or free food, or... Don't be shy. And take your time. That will allow me to take my coffee, because I got free coffee. But small size. I had to pay supplement for large, so I said, you know what, I'll take the small. I'm joking. All right, no specific aspirations for today? Sorry? Very good. So to drive awareness, to drive efficiency with analytics and AI, and I think we're going to be spot on. That's actually why I come here. I'm not here to speak about AI like this or data. I'm here to tie it to business. That's why my center is called Berkeley Fisher Center for Business Analytics. All right, so I think we are good. I think we are good. Maybe my presenter view here. So, rules of engagement for today. Raise your hand, ask me questions. Anytime. If it's too easy, raise your hand, challenge me. If it's too hard, raise your hand, ask for something. And you know what? The other folks in the room, they're going to say thank you because they did not understand. They just hoped somebody was... Can you repeat, please? Okay? That's rule number one. Rule number two, or base number two, everything I will share in this session is something I experienced and worked on a first relation basis. I'm not here to tell you, oh, I read in the magazine by somebody who read the magazine, by somebody who thought he read the magazine, and tell you the stories that everybody tell you. No, that's not me. Everything will come from experience that I had firsthand. I saw the people. I saw the damages. I saw the best, the worst, and the ugliest. This is what I'm going to come to you with. Last element, but you already figured it out probably. I am super funny. See, I tell you. So it was either doing like stand-up comedy or teaching at Berkeley. So you'll tell me if I made the right choice. But jokes set aside, well, that's who I am. But also, I want you to understand that the data part, the AI part, that is the easy part. The most complex part that we're going to have to manage is the human part of it all. Society, business teams, and yourself. That's why, to make you feel this, I'm going to have to go through humor, through sarcasm. I'm French. And I'll manage to make you feel these things, not because I'm having pleasure just to be a clown on stage, but I want you also to feel what's happening today in small and large organizations that I witness every day. Sounds good? All right. So, just time check. We have till 4 p.m. or 5 p.m.? Alina, with the intros and all. 2? No. To 1 p.m. To 1 p.m.? Okay. That's an hour and a half. Great. All right, so let me tell yourself a bit about me. And this is also part of this session. First, to establish a bit of trust, and then also for you to understand what's going to be my bias. Well done. So I come from business. Unlike a lot of Silicon Valley people who say, oh, I know business because I had an internship like 12 years ago, 30 years ago. No, I was 12 years a controller, group controller, head of an internal bank. I also spent some time in audit, supply chain. I've done some pretty heavy work. Actually, heavy work that got me recognized in the international press, like in the Financial Times, where I got a third of a page on the work I was doing back then. And that's an important thing. Well, at least you trust me. I know a thing in applied data. But that's also a time that became pivotal for me, because that attracted a US company who read that article, and they said, maybe you could work for us in your field, but the software and data side. And that's when I moved to the US. Then the story was rock and roll. Hyperion acquired by Oracle, made it to Google, joined a startup, we made IPO, joined another startup, we got acquired, joined another startup that we beautifully crashed. Buy me a drink, I will tell you everything. But then 5 years ago, and started a bit before, I started to say, I have enough, I did enough, I'm good. I'm good where I'm at, now I want to give back. And this is when I started to pass it on, like my mentor told me. My mentor, Najin, she was my first boss in the US. And starting 10 years ago and more, 5 years ago, I started to teach, to train, and share everything I had learned to professionals and students. So now I teach around the world, at Berkeley, at Stanford also. I go to the dark side sometimes. But what I want you to know is what you're going to get today is not like academic. Well, actually, it is, because I'm relying on amazing researchers and data scientists, like literally world class, which I don't think I am, but I hang out with them. But also on a vast network of companies I'm working with. Everything you're going to hear today is benchmarked with, the recent ones, Nissan, last week, this week finishing, L'Oréal 2 weeks ago, Allianz Insurance, while I was, arriving in Ukraine. So I'm constantly in contact with large organizations, so I know what they feel, where they fail, where they succeed, and that's what this session is all going to be about. It's not like disconnected from reality. I get this heart-to-heart with CFOs, CEOs, VP of HR on like almost every day. Okay, let me brag now a little bit, but come on, I want to show you this, people. Next slide. See, this is where I miss my thing, because I can go zoom and, no, not this one. Are you sure you cannot project the zoom on here? Yeah. They can't? Okay, next one, look at the slide on Zoom. Because now you're going to feel frustrated because I'm shifting slides, but I don't need to show you these slides because I talk about it. This one, next one. Oh, look, let's do. Next one. I need your help back there. It's the next one. Slide number, but I need my glasses then, 9. One more. Bring some coffee to the back. There we go. This is an important slide I wanted to finish on. I have the privilege to work with the state of California on their digital transformation. And guess what they want to do? They want to do DR for California. So 2 weeks ago, we had the CTO of the state of California working with on a hackathon with mostly Ukrainian people. Because you're the best. So I work with NASA as well, developing AI training for NASA. And same thing, you know a thing or two about everything that flies. So we're connecting the dots with you guys. And one of the reasons I'm here this week is also giving back, from the American people, giving back and supporting different industries here in Ukraine with business analytics training. And something that, we're also starting to work with veterans here. And it's amazing once they're empowered with data what they can accomplish. So that's my life. Hopefully that makes you understand who I am with one last bias. I told you I want to be unbiased, but I do care about diversity and inclusion, not because it's good, but because it's a necessity. Of course it's good, but it's a necessity. All of you need to understand how this works, because believe me, the worst will happen if we don't really understand what AI, machine learning, and the rest is. Next, check, sorry? Yeah, next slide, great. All right, let's get started. So I'm going to give you slide numbers, okay? 12, but I need my glasses to look at the slide numbers. All right, so now we're going to establish a foundation on these basics. Why are you here to know about AI? And some people say, oh, because it's cool, because everybody does it. You're not going to convince many people. So let's do it this way. There's actually a big rationale for AI today. You know for a fact that the world is becoming crazier, easy. You know for a fact that it's becoming more complex. You know for a fact that competition is global, data is everywhere. Okay? So here's the problem. Ready? I'm going to change slide. You got to follow me. I'm not telling you that AI is important. I'm not telling you that data is important. I'm telling you that what you're going to do if you master AI, master data and analytics, this is what is important. And see, I'm kind of like saying I'm irrelevant. What is relevant is what you're going to do with what I'm going to show you. And what does, next slide, what does mastering AI and data bring you? Well, it brings you two things. It brings you visibility and time. And visibility and time are essential because today in that complex world, if you don't know where you are, where you're coming from, and where you're going to, well, it's very hard to make your right decision. Second, if you have no time to think about what you need to do, if you have no time to fail and read and iterate, then you can't really progress. And guess what? Mastering data, analytics, and AI will give you these two things. Much better data, much faster. And here, the speed of acceleration, and I've known that for 20 years with the early stage of data. To give you an idea, and please challenge me on this, but the teams I've trained in Ukraine last week, a 4-hour process was transformed into a 4-second process by the help of the right tools, the support of Gen AI, and a good data mindset. 4 hours to 4 seconds. And it's going to be 4 seconds every day from now on. The first time you do it, you save 4 hours. The second time you do it, you save 8 hours. What would you do in 8 hours? That's why I'm moving to next slide now. Ask yourself the question, if you had more time, if you could have not information about the last 3 months, but guess what? The last year, the last 2 years, the last 3 years, and you could get it in seconds, what would you do? If you had hours per day, what are the things you would love to do you can't do today? If you have this mastery of generative AI, analytics, and all these tools, what are the things you don't like to do that you would give to the machine? That is what's at stake today. Because there's no more beautiful things than a human mind. And right now, you're spending, I'm betting it, you're spending your day on copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste in Excel. Okay? So that's my gift. And by the way, I will actually give you an example from yesterday. Olia, can I share the example I shared with you? Sure. I mean, it's... Yes, yesterday I trained veterans. And I didn't catch it. It's somebody after the fact that told me this is what happened. We're working on simple data transformation with address and geolocation. And one of the veterans still active, I couldn't know his ranks. I don't know ranks here in Ukraine, but he said, I have a question for you. Sure. How can I calculate the distance from all these addresses, longitude, latitude, to city center? Can you do it? Can you program it? I said, sure. The way I showed you, generative AI can help us program a routine that takes these 44,000 rows and give you for every single one of them, from longitude, latitude, the distance in kilometer to the city center. I ran the prompt, got the code, applied the code, boom, 0.0 seconds, actually, it was too fast. We had every single distance to city center. And this is where I saw the face of this officer, like, And I didn't quite get it. Is he impressed? He's like, okay. And it's only after the training I met with the team that was in the room, and over a glass of, over a drink, he said, you know what happened? And yeah, I think I'm in a safe audience here. I said, well, I think he liked what he saw and it got him inspired. And see, that's the empowerment of new technology, new approach. Over 4 hours together, we went from 0 to 6 to 100, and click. All right. I still moved by this. So, why is there an emergency? So this, I just want to give you a pointer also to ask people to move, because it's not obvious for everyone. The classic example of, well, the printing press. Overused example. It took 150 years, so I'm going to skip one slide here. 150 years. One more. There we go. No, one more. Okay, I won't get the effect of the slide, so you have to bear with me. So it took 150 years for the printing press to be adopted across Europe. That's roughly, how long? I mean, you could argue plus or minus 10 years, but who's counting? Now, ChatGPT and generative AI and everything you could do with it went from 0 to a couple 100 million users in 6 months. The ratio is 300 times faster. It's the comparison between the speed of an F-16 at Mach 1 and you walking in the street. That's what we are facing. And I can tell you that makes a huge difference today, because companies such as Nissan, such as L'Oréal, such as Allianz, now they listen. 3 years ago, they were like, we have time, and I love my Excel. This is gone. Okay, so you have it. There is a need for time and insight, and we have no choice. If I were actually to give you 2 pieces of example, I need to make sure I'm good control of time here. The future of humanity is bound to AI. I love telling that story over more minutes, but I'll make it short for you. I work for NASA. I told you my slides have importance. I work with NASA and have the ultimate luxury to work with the people that send stuff to the moon or soon to Mars. They tell you AI is tied to the future of humanity. Oh my gosh, no, please, no, not the Terminator. No. To find water on the moon, which is essential for the future of humanity, we need AI. There is no way we can know where the water is, where it's the best to be harvested, without connecting the dots between geographical, geological, photographic, radar, LiDAR, sensor, you name it. There's no way we can find water without connecting all the dots. This is not going to happen in our heads. It has to happen with AI. It's too complex. And my favorite one, so that was delivered by the director of the Viper mission himself, the guy who spearhead the rover that's going to go get water. Firsthand. And the one is the director of the Ames NASA Research Center, with which we partner. And he was talking about Mars. Why do we need AI to go to Mars with people on board? Because when you think about it, when we went to the moon, we had less power than an iPhone for the Apollo mission. But the thing is different. And this is an amazing lesson learned. As you go to the moon, your radio signal is just only a few seconds. So basically, Houston, we have a problem. It takes 8 seconds, and you have 40 brains working for you 24/7. When you go to Mars, after 3, 4, 5 weeks or a month, you could be up to 70 minutes away, radio signal. So if you go, Houston, we have a problem, you can binge on Netflix for quite a long time, like 3 or 4 episodes, before you get the answer. And when you have 2 minutes or less to survive in space, that is not doable. They need AI to say, I analyzed everything locally. Here are the 3 solutions. Choose the best one. Then that brings up the problem of trusting AI, which is another problem. I mean, you see it. But the future of humanity is tied like this to AI. So hopefully that makes the case. Maybe I could use this too. So AI, what does it do? So we're going to switch gear here. You're probably familiar with all this. AI is everywhere. Some people say, oh, AI is new. No, you're using AI everywhere. Your Google Maps, your recommendations. So let's, as we say in America, let's cut the crap. AI has already invaded our lives. So, but this you know. Now, do you know the difference? Do you know the 2 major types of AI there is around the world? The 2. You can put 2 buckets. No? That's okay. That's why I'm here. The 2 types of AI. The one is that we call the weak and narrow AI. Yeah. See? Actually, thank you for going like out. But that's exactly what I want to get to. Of course you know this. But it's somewhat buried in your mind. And if you need to explain it to your people, to your family, you won't be that clear. So now I'm giving you the bits so that you're like adamant, assertive. You become a true ambassador. So narrow AI, weak AI, actually that's the one that works today. And don't challenge it. On narrow things, specific things, it just works better than us. Period, end of the story. But where some people get confused is the... There we go. All right. Oh, okay. Oh, I'll get it, yes. All right, so the second one is broad, strong AI. This is the, I'm going to say it, but many of you haven't even watched the movie. I'll be back. That's the Terminator. That's Blade Runner. That's the general AI that is intelligent like a human being. It doesn't exist, period. It doesn't exist. ChatGPT is not a general AI. You can ask ChatGPT, are you a general AI? You'll see, look at the answer. It doesn't exist. Now, there's a debate on whether it will ever exist, and if it does, when we'll be ready. But for now, that's not the case. I would say that narrow AI is already giving us so much trouble to think about. I'm not even sure that humanity is ready for general AI. We'll see when it comes. So let's move one more step. We're going to move away from general AI because that is science fiction. We're going to zero in on narrow AI, and I want to show you what it can do. And it cannot do everything and anything. Don't be like these people that say, oh, I'm going to fix my company problem with AI. You don't. I mean, maybe some, but it's not something you say. I mean, I hear that, you know. And actually, that's how I recently closed a large training thing, because the lady came to me on a dinner and says, yeah, I want to solve my efficiency problem with AI. And I was like, it was Friday night, I was tired, but I was working dinner. I was like, okay, I do it. No, you don't. No, you won't. She was kind of pissed. I said, get some more wine, sit down, I'll tell you. And by the way, see, that's a bit of touch of humor and sarcasm, but that shows you that that's the world we live in. It's not cold data, it's human beings. So AI cannot do everything. It's narrow, but it can do a few things. So it can learn from complex, massive situations and can make inferences. That is, if you show me enough situations, when I see a new situation, I'll be able to make a prediction. That's supervised learning. Or you can say, hi AI, here's a bunch of consumers and marbles or whatever products. Look at it, show me the outliers, show me how I can group them. That's unsupervised learning. I'll show you examples. And then another way of making machine learning work is you say, hey machine, I want you to do something, but machine doesn't understand the world. The only thing it understands is if you do something right, you get points. If you do something wrong, you get minus points. Try to optimize your number of points or maximize the number of points. And if you set the reward and the stick right, eventually the machine will do what you want. Or not. And that is what I just explained. Reinforcement, supervised and supervised. I mean, don't need to remember these terms, but that's the field of machine learning, and we're going to see examples about that. Machine learning. Now, there is a field that was where machine learning was used, is generative AI, where actually the machine learned from all of our content. So this is done, and the way we use it as a tool so that it generates new content. That's ChatGPT and company. This is all narrow AI. So that set the stage. Now we're going to dive in a few examples. And after that, spoiler alert, you're going to get the exclusive Mimi and the cat story. But wait. Now you all wonder, but that's my teaser. That way you listen to me. I took that from Netflix. In the next episode, Or, they start and it's like bim, bam, boom. And then it says, 3 weeks before that. All right, so what AI can do is, supervised learning. If I feed the AI with enough housing details, enough house cases, and I say each house is this price or this price, then an AI can say, oh, I know how to guess the price of a house then. I mean, it's like human beings. Now, more complex, that's supervised learning. Now, if we show enough molecules to an AI and say, okay, this molecule is made of this, 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 and that's the 3D representation, without knowing what a molecule or what a protein is, the AI can say, I can figure out a model that can guess that molecule in 3D. That works beautifully. That's also supervised learning. You feed something to the machine, it learns, and it does the job. Oh, yes, of course. Oh yeah, so molecules. Yeah, I knew you were missing this one. That's supervised learning. Unsupervised learning is like, hey, I got a bunch of customer and product, and I want to see how they aggregate. Boom, that is unsupervised learning. The machine will just take the points and see how close they come together and make groups. Or see outliers. And see here, you see 3 groups. It's beautiful. And then you have reinforcement learning, which is like autonomous vehicles. Autonomous vehicles. And a lot of development these days, such as a... I'll probably give you enough of examples. So this, now you see what it can do. Let's switch to a few things that are amazing, and this is what probably got a lot of people interested in AI, is generative AI. Because all of a sudden, people got a glimpse of what AI could do. When you use generative AI, you're not doing AI. You're getting the results of AI. That's different. All the example I showed you earlier, it's AI at work. Generative AI, it's AI that has done the work, and then now it's providing you with results. The previous AI was the end. Generative AI is a tool. And this is where it gets crazy, and I think that's what helped us a lot, educators, is now people understand what it's all about. And I don't know if you tried GPT. Have you ever tried to do this? Coming. So this, I hate doing that with, because I didn't show the slides. Okay. This is what Gen AI can do. Have you ever tried this? So this is asking GPT to write a rap for United Nations Global Compact, one of the partners today. Snoop Dogg style. And this is crazy. This is where I realized I missed my career. Because, I don't know, I know it's only early, but yeah, Snoop Dogg, D-O-double-G in the house, letting you all know about UN's goals, no doubt, we're talking about that global compact Ukraine stance, learning analytics, AI giving projects a chance, kicking off with a vision so clear, United Nations Global Compact, Ukraine's here, Pushing forward with sustainability, no fear. Responsible business action, that's the sphere. Analytics and AI, tools of the trade. Crafting solutions so no one's afraid. Supporting projects with precision and trade for a future that's brighter, not just a facade laid. Yeah, ooh, ooh. Thank you. That's the beauty of Gen AI. It's magical. But that's, once again, that's not AI. That's AI trained that gives you results. Do you want me to sing the end? No, later maybe, okay? The other magic, and honestly, that's magic, and I get it from professors that are like best in the field. They still tell you it's magic. That example I took from Peter Abil, one of our distinguished professors, and it's like, okay, this is Darth Vader realizing that he forgot to attach the attachment to his email. That's generated by AI. And you're like, he's like, oh no, I forgot to tell him I was his father. You know, it's like, all right, so this is where we are. Now, as we look at the state of the nation, though, AI is still not intelligent. It can do a lot of predictions. It can do a lot of fancy stuff that are really magic, because 2 years ago, this was like a miracle. But look, it can play games. It can beat somebody at Go, absolutely. But can it still drive? No. I mean, autonomous car, Elon saying, I got autonomous car. I mean, he's being killed by regulation because it doesn't work that well. And we've been 30 years at training cars. Where are we today? Imagine a car, if you know Paris, in the Place de l'Étoile at peak hour. Autonomous car? No, not even a chance. And now imagine as a human being, how long did it take you? I love doing this joke, it's so sexist. No, I won't do it. No. How long did it take you to learn how to drive? See, I won't do it, but the fact I'm not saying it, but I'm alluding to it, now you're laughing. No, but okay, joke set aside. And Olya is horrified. Oh no, you did it, Gauthier, again. But I want to emphasize, I mean, by getting the joke, I want to emphasize it even more. How long did it take you to drive a car? For some of you, 1 day. For some of you, 2 days. For some of you, over a week, and it was done. We've been at it for 30 years, and we still cannot drive a fucking car. So yeah, that's the difference between narrow AI and general AI. Now, a few last things. Dropping a robot that you trained into a store, like in like the Berkeley Bowl, which is a big market, like the food market in Kiev, it won't work. The robot doesn't know. Can it do it on Amazon? Absolutely. But so we far. I love this one. Empty a dishwasher with someone. It can't, because the human part, it cannot be trained with the human interaction, because it will always change. And does it know it is funny? No, it doesn't. And that's something very clear. We're not general AI. It's apparently funny and inspired. It's just mechanics. So is the general AI for today, for tomorrow? No, absolutely. We're still far from there. Although, here we go. Although we love putting our future in the hands of bright, wise men, Zuck, aka Zuckerberg, is going for it. And that can raise some concern, but that's my personal opinion. But at the end of the day, before we get there, and before we enter more detailed examples on how AI works, because you know what it does and does well and doesn't, let's have this to remember. And I mean this. The only intelligence, the I in AI, is you. The machine is the artificial part. You are the I, because you are the one that decides what the AI should do. An AI doesn't know what it should do. You decide in the end if you need to make something of it. You select the data you put in it. And in the end, I mean, you're in control of the whole process from start to finish. You are the alpha and omega of AI. Let's not forget this. Plus, you know, if an AI really bothers me, I just unplug it. All right. So now, let's get deeper into the weeds. That was a test. Thank you. By the way, do I need to change the slide online, or yes, I need to do both? Okay. At 11 a.m. is additional mental work for me. So now we're going to decipher how AI works. So 3 examples. Machine learning, reinforcement learning, now you know what they represent, and the last one, generative AI. And why is it important to know how it works? Is because if you know how it works, you know where the problems can arrive. And when we talk about ethics, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And these stories are very dear to me, because if you don't understand that, you can talk about ethics all day long, you're still clueless. And I hate these people. Oh, we need to be ethical, and they have no clue. Today we're putting an end to this, and I'd love to introduce you. You know she's coming. Her name is Mimi. Mimi and the cat. Mimi and the cat is going to help us understand how machine learning works. And it's going to also show you my proficiency in Ukrainian. All right, imagine Mimi, she's a little girl, she's going to discover the world. And we're going to do something cruel to Mimi. We're going to take her brain and put a machine learning. Okay? So, machine learning algorithm, model, and she goes to discover the world. She gets outside and she sees this. And she goes like, I mean, she's not trained. An algorithm, a model doesn't know anything. So she does like this. But as humans, we're going to train machine learning Mimi, MLM, to help her recognize that this is a cat, a kit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take features of the kit, and we're going to put the features and say, hey, Mimi, if it has pointy ears, whiskers, long tail, short hair, and little paws, it's a kit. Features come in, model makes the inference, the model learns, and then next time it sees the features, it's going to go kit. So Mimi just machine learned how to recognize a kit. So Mimi is very proud. She's not proud, she's a machine. And she goes out and she sees this. And she goes, kit. No, Mimi, you're missing features. We need to give you more features and tie them to another target. Drum roll, Levitsa. Rounder ears, bigger snout, big paws, and little fluffy tail. Features go in, inference go out. The model is trained. Mimi now knows, can I go back here? Kit and Levitsa. So now Mimi watches a book, and she sees this. And she goes, Levitsa. No, Mimi, it's not a Levitsa, it's a tiger. Tiger with stripes, white belly, and white cheeks, and rounder head. More features go in, and now Mimi can recognize kit, Levitsa, and tigre. Oops. There you go. And then Mimi goes back home, and she sees this. And Mimi goes, fuck! I'm so confused. The features are all over the place. What do I do? What do I do? That's machine learning confusion. The machine cannot guess here. Or, actually, it's going to do this. It's 60% kit, 30% Levitsa, 30% tigre, and 10% Levitsa. So it's going to say in the end, it's a kit. And see, that's how you train machine learning. One with features, and that's real machine learning. And with features, you realize that you only have a limited set, so you kind of bias or you limit yourself. At least you know what the machine used to learn, but it's limited. But it can work very, very well in business, though. Don't underestimate this. But that's why people said, we need to go deeper, hence the term deep learning. Machine learning, deep learning. Deep learning is machine learning, okay? Doing, doing, doing. Now we're going to do something slightly different. It's still about features going in, inference go out. Except we're going to say, hey, Mimi, these are cougars. And I'm not going to tell you the features of cougars. I'm just going to give you 1 million photos of cougars. All of them tagged, this is cougar. And I will let Mimi select the features it finds on the image. Is that safe? I mean, Mimi will see much more, right? Well, it can be safe unless, here you can see, what Mimi will see to define a cougar is the snow and the sky. Let me go back. The snow and the sky. And that's the problem with deep learning. You let the machine learn with what it finds, and the problem is if you have a bias in your photos or in your data, the machine will see it and will pick it up. So yes, the machine will say cougar, but the machine here will say Levica, because it doesn't see the white and the blue. And that, my friend, is deep learning. Deep learning is great. You let the machine figure out what it needs to learn, but it's a bit of a black box. The machine can pick up the wrong things, and usually it's harder to interpret. That's why in your world, most of the time, machine learning will be enough. You know the features you put in, the inference you want out, and it's clear for everyone, and you actually can get very good results. Goodie? Now, bye-bye Kit, Levica, and Tigre. We're going to go to robots now. The reinforcement learning. I told you reinforcement learning is I give you points if you do something right that I want you to do, or I give you a stick if you don't do what I want you to do. Here, if you go in the fire, very bad. If you go get close to the diamond, very good. If you go to the diamond, super good. But if you move too much, super bad. So one example, and I won't be able to share it though. How do I do this? Yeah, it's. Can you click on the copy paste the link one way or another and project it? No, you won't, huh? Okay. All right, I'll mimic it. So here, that's how we trained a car here to drive and to park here. We equipped this car with little sensors, and the stick is, if you touch another car, if you touch anything actually, you get minus points. If you move too much, you give minus points. If you move too far away from the parking spot, minus points. But if you do little steps and go in very limited number of steps to the parking space and you don't touch anything, bonus points, bonus points. How many times do you think it will take this robot with reinforcement learning to reach Californian level, which is you just can't park? Well, Californian level is barely reached after 50,000 iterations. 50,000 iterations. Now, how do you get to Parisian level, which is you park but you hit a few cars? 100,000 iterations. How do you get to Ukraine style? Well, the machine will be fully trained after 30,000 iterations. And then it will get it all the time, every time, perfect. What I mean by this example is actually that reinforcement learning of robots is great, but you need to find the right stick, the right carrot, otherwise it's gonna, if you forget to say here, hey, don't touch cars, it's gonna go through the cars and get to the place and done. You know, I got my point. I mean, it's like kids or salespeople, you know. You got to get the right sales incentive for salespeople. Otherwise, they just sell at zero price or at super high discount just to get the bonus. So it's this, but it's also a lot of iteration, and that's what you need to factor in. Because the fact is, when the cars start to drive or the robots start to learn, they learn at random because they have no clue what they're doing. So they go like, Oh, minus point. Oh, minus point. Until they touch the cup. Oh, bonus point, you touch the cup. And eventually it will realize it can grab the cup and drink. All right? Now, generative AI, once again, it's AI, but the AI is behind it. Now it's a tool. But how was it trained? To make it super simple, I mean, not baby simple, but simple. I should give it to you, actually. I'm going to use the first example, which is the most obvious. Generative AI learned from everything it could find online, on the web, or any sources. And it sort of measured how words should come together. And if you give it a context, it knows more which word should follow which word. That's why the context, the prompt is important. But once it's set, if I tell to a bunch of, not Gen Z because they don't know about that song, but our generation, if I say, we will have dessert. No, come on. We will. Thank you. See, we just Gen AI'd ourselves because we know we will rock you. If you say it twice, it's 99% rock you. And that's what Gen AI is doing. But if you say, I am in a restaurant full of pastries and I'm hungry and all the kids are shouting they want to be fed, then it might go, we will have dessert because this is what comes most in this context. And there you have it, that's Gen AI. It's actually pretty stupid. Sounds good? All right, where can AI help us today? Now that's the question. We want to make it to work for us, otherwise there's no point. That's why my center is called the Fisher Center for Business Analytics Applied AI. So let's go back to basics before we move any further. Remember, here it's all about saving time and gaining insight. There is no other reason why we do this. If you use Gen AI and take longer, if you use AI and you don't get better insight, don't do it. And I've seen people spending millions just to get deep learning going. You could get the same result in 5 seconds, in 5 minutes with machine learning. So why do you spend $1 million more? I wanted to impress the neighbor. Yeah, well, that's for the same price, get yourself a red car. Okay, so here, I mean, I won't be able to share my screen for the dynamic, but just to give you a few ideas of what you can do. This is accessible to all of us today. That was not accessible to any of us 2 years ago. So I'm going to go through these different topics, but basically get new ideas, summarize documents, capture and visualize data, and even generate code on things that are complex. Actually, the veteran example was exactly this. I'm going to show you how you can generate the code to process that data set and kill more Russians. So actually, that's going to be a nice exercise. Actually, showing it live on screen, you know, the thing, but I'm going to mimic it for you. So the first thing is rapid brainstorming. This is something that 2 years ago could not be possible. How do you get great ideas? Well, you need a team, you need time, but there is a way that can accelerate all this. So obviously, you can all read my screen, right? I think if I zoom, maybe. There we go. Oh, no, it's there. So, okay, you can't zoom. That's okay. So what I ask here is I have to write a paper. No, actually, no, that's not what I write. I want to develop AI in my NFL American football team. Where should I start? What are the top 10 applications? Of course, I know I'm a pro. But you know what? Let's give it a shot. Maybe I could be inspired in the way GPT replies to me. And there you have it. Player performance, injury prediction, game strategy optimization, fan engagement and personalization. Oh, I would have not thought about this one. Dynamic ticket pricing. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a cool idea. Automated video highlights generation. I'm already blown away, by the way. Scouting and recruitment. Scouting is you try to look at new talents. Real-time strategy adjustment. Oh yeah. Wearable technology, player monitoring, virtual reality training. I mean, look at that. I would challenge any one of you to say, even if it's not your field, but you say, oh, come on, I'm creative, come with these 10 examples in 20 seconds. I love sport, I know sport, but I must admit, like in 20 seconds, get this. And of course, if I spend some time, of course, I'm going to find them all. But now, instead of having to start from here, I start from there and take it from there. The reason why it works, though, is because I know my job. I know what I expect. And I also can gauge if this is bullshit or if this is meaningful. Remember, you are the alpha, I asked the question, and the omega, I know that this holds water. If you have this approach of brainstorming is a game changer. Now, have you ever tried this? Oh, and by the way, all this I'm showing to you, this is, I mean, people say, oh, but generative AI hallucinates. Oh, it's bad. We'll get back to that if you want. If somebody asks you a question, you raise your hand and say, I have a question. I'll tell you about hallucination, but there's not much. I mean, hallucination is good here. You want actually the AI to hallucinate a bit because maybe it will show you something you would have never thought about. Or maybe it will say something so stupid, you will say, but wait, actually it's not that stupid. It's like having a Gen Z intern. I mean, they're kind of useless, but sometimes they say something stupid. And, no, I'm sorry. Gen Z in the room? Yeah, they don't wake up in the morning to attend such sessions, so. Oh, Alina, you feel, oh, sorry. No, I'm talking about the Californian ones. What do I do, boss? Well, you take these chairs and you set up the room. How you want the room to be set. It's like, yeah. So it takes half an hour to explain, and then you say, you know what, thank you, because, and then they take the chair with one hand. Why? Because they have the phone on the other hand, because they're like Instagramming. And then the first chair they get, oh, I twisted my wrist. I need to go to the doctor, and I'm going to sue you. All right, okay, enough of... All right, so what can you do too? Oh, this is actually a great one. Have you ever tried this? This is a different topic here. That's okay. That's actually special for UN Global Compact. But this is a paper on women on boards of directors and corporate social performance, a meta-analysis. Do you think I have time to read this? No, I don't actually in my day. That's a 40-page document. Hey, GPT, sum it up in 5 bullet points. Is it going to be complete? No. But in one bullet point, I say, that's the point of interest. Now take that bullet point, sum it up in 5 points. And show me the quotes from the document that specifically speak about that point. Job done in 1 minute. So now not only you have a brainstorming session for free in Rapidly, you can back it up by real research. Actually, that's my trick when I meet new professors. I download their paper. Hey, GPT, give me a quick summary. In words I would understand. Because sometimes, and I woke up to the professor and say, hey, Professor this, oh, I loved your paper. Mostly when you talked about this and this and this and that specific, you earned all the points. And then they say, oh, do you want to speak at my conference? Of course, Gauthier. Oh, I'm so mean and manipulator. Okay, but summarizing of paper is fabulous. The other thing, and that is the killer, my friend, that is, for me, a game changer, mostly in my field of analytics. This. And talking about UN Global Compact, equality, la la la, diversity, la la la, and how long do you spend on these things in Excel? This, I mean, it's not particularly pretty because I stuffed it all. This is basically 200,000 rows of the payroll of San Francisco, the city. And I just said, it's okay, you can't read, but I just say, can you create a bunch of charts that represent how things are, how equity is handled and diversity is handled, et cetera, et cetera. And I even want a correlation, matrix to give me what influences and what. I just said it in plain English. I could have said it in plain French. I could almost have said it in plain Ukrainian using Kit, Levitsa, and Tiger. wouldn't have worked. But I got this in a few seconds. 200,000 rows. Now, any of your basic analytics or even advanced one can be done in seconds. Now you're going to say, but Gauthier, you loaded your data in GPT. Very bad. What I do, and that's what I taught the veterans, I say, you say, hey, GPT, can you run the code? Can you create the code to run an analysis? You bring the code to your machine, and then safely you apply it to your data. This would have taken to my best analyst, or even to myself, maybe an hour to do, from start to finish. This was done in 1 minute and 10 seconds. I'll let you do the math and the ratio, the percentage of time reduction, close to 90-something%. Now, where AI can take you more, so this is mostly generative AI, but where machine learning, the lousy, narrow, weak machine learning, Mimi and the Tigre kid, etc. Oops. Predicting demand. If you know in the past what influences demand, these are features, you know what demand you got for the features, you push it into the model and it will predict demand. If the features you give are real predictors or drivers of demand, the machine will see if it's the case and then will be able to make your model. Oops. Oop. It can also predict a trend, time series. It can also, like, remember the little bubbles? You give the machine maybe, Groupon example, 200 million clients, consumers from Groupon. And you say, instead of saying we have male, female, senior, not senior, you take like 200 features and you say, can you group them by closeliness across 200 features? The graph I showed you was 3-dimensional. Imagine the same chart in 200 dimensions. And it's going to group the bubbles by closeliness. And yeah, you can also predict what's going to happen. Is the person going to click or not? Is the person going to show up or not? Is it going to be a fraud or not fraud? This is all machine learning. And guess what? Today, with no-code solutions, with even Gen AI, within minutes, you could train an algorithm and get results. So we're going to say, okay, Gauthier, now you sound like a used car salesman. I'm not kidding. I teach, and okay, now that's a sales pitch. I teach in 12 hours professionals like you how to run with machine learning using no-code AI solutions. 12 hours, no-code AI solutions. Yeah, and you're going to say, okay, it's like, whatever. This class has been of the most highly rated class at Stanford Continuing Studies for 2 years in a row. 4.9 out of 5. This year, for the first time, they're pioneering it with me. There's too many people attending and too many people from abroad. It's going to be online, offline, together. We're already above 100 participants. And maybe I could deliver it here for you, Ukrainians. Yeah, indeed. But the success is amazing, not because of me, but because technology allows it. And if you explain people, Mimi and the cat and the rest, you realize that you can predict who's going to die and survive on the Titanic. You can predict which claim for this insurance is fraud or not. You can predict the price of the house. You can predict what is going to be the insurance cost. All this. Not only you can do it and you can understand. So this you can do, and even without using the no-code tools, you throw it into ChatGPT and it does the job. This is for me a whole new level. Now, once again, it works if you understand what you want, what you need, what to expect. That's why, some people say, oh, but I don't need to take the class. I just ask ChatGPT. Well, you won't know if it's valid or not. And to some extent, that's one of my favorite examples. Actually, you can go even further. Because everything I said so far was the realm of analysts. It's starting to be the realm of pretty much everyone. So the previous example where everyone can do what I did, summary, etc. What I'm showing here, go here, that requires an analyst, but 2 years ago, analysts could not do that. And I would say, in a year from now, everybody will be able to do this. And today, what requires data scientists, they still have a job, don't worry, is like what's coming next, the fake news, the fake images, going to more massive and more complex data, absolutely. But there is something that used to be data scientist world that is now becoming also available for all you, is to be able to detect feelings, sentiment from text. Sentiment analysis, you know about this. Natural language processing, NLP. If you want to impress your friends tonight at dinner, yeah, we talked about NLP and shit, But natural language processing is understanding human language using a computer and trying to make it intelligence. It's artificial intelligence, of course. But it used to be the realm of data scientists, the real hairy ones. And by that, I mean females and males. No, like the freaky ones. No, today it's for everyone. Actually, this is a data set of reviews from Amazon using no-code AI and GPT. Yeah, that's the sentiment analysis of the whatever, there's like 200,000 reviews in there. And you can, you can see they're slightly positive and you have a nice bell curve. This was done in minutes. 2 years ago, I would have cried. I would have needed an IT person, a data scientist, a guide, a coder, and a Gen Z. Why a Gen Z? Well, for decoration. But this is, for me, mind-boggling. So as a recap for this chapter, you understand that across the whole chain of what you need to do every day, from looking for an idea, backing it up with research, for doing exploratory data analysis, and then probably analysis, and then taking it to the next step with machine learning, and then even pushing it to data science with NLP. Everything is now within reach of pretty much all of us. That's why I love teaching data. Because once you do this, if you read French, imagination to power. That's my veteran yesterday, like, I know what I can do with this. That's exactly this. By the way, this is like a stone back in 1968, French student revolution. They took the pavement in Paris and started to throw this. I mean, the strong ones, because many would pick it up, and this weighs like 10 kilos. Or at least 7-8 kilos, and they were like, but yeah. So, but basically, they were imagination to power. They wanted to break away from the old system, but that's really what we can do today, thanks to all the tools I've shown to you. You gain insight at a speed that you've never seen. Let's go back. That's going back to my first point, insight and time. Goodie? All right. Now, maybe let's take a few questions. Any questions so far? 13 questions? Let's go and take 13 questions before we get into ethics. Yeah. All right, so I'll repeat the question. So if, let's say, in the legal practice, the machine gives you something and it's wrong, it's misleading, actually it can be dangerous. So let's go back to the roots. AI is not smart. You are the adult in the room. So relying blindly on AI, I think it's a mistake to begin with. It's not even about saying, is the AI right? Is it good or not? AI is a tool. Like any tool, you trust it to the level at which it is. Actually, that leads to a very nice thing that I always bring, and thank you for asking the question. In AI, get that, and this is by a top, his name is Box, top statisticians. In AI, all models are wrong. All models are wrong. I'll repeat it a third time. All models are wrong, but some of them are more useful. And that's exactly what it's all about for your legal thing. Of course, it's going to be wrong, or definitely not perfect, but it can get you 80% of the way. And then I tell you, you are the alpha, you asked the question, you are the omega, you validate it. You're welcome. And hallucination actually could be like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, but wait, that gives me an argument. And then yes. And we'll take also questions online, Nolia. Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah.
I have a question relating to the ChatGPT. when you asked the 10 suggestions for the American football team. Actually, AI is learning, so the 10 suggestions that we obtained, actually, can we assume that this is the 10 already somehow existed ideas that we just don't know, and but that is existed ideas, other person's ideas, and ChatGPT give us this answer as for our questions, yes, but this someone's other idea.
Mm-hmm. So that's a great question. That's going to enable us to go back a little bit on the foundation of Gen AI. So it is, to some extent, by default, somebody else's idea, because Gen AI, the AI model, had to learn from something existing. It didn't learn from the air. It learned from something. So I think by default, it's by somebody's idea. But this is where hallucinations actually are more a feature than a bug. Besides the brainstorming, which is cool because it gets crazy, if there was no hallucination in AI, then it would always be the same 10 answers. Because it just takes what humankind has written about the topic, it knows the statistics of the word, and there you have it. And that would be very poor, very sad. And that's why Gen AI has a little twist to say, I may not choose the number 1 option, but the number 2 to create that variability. So I think it's grounded in the collective mind, but it adds a little twist where it could actually generate something more than what you got. And that leads to a problem. Maybe we'll have that question. The problem is, at some point, if the whole world has only talked about these 10 points, despite the hallucinations, will you find the 11th point? Because the machine probably won't find it if it never existed. But guess what? Now you have the time. You got the 10 points in seconds. Now you have the time to go after the 11th. Yes, Olia, maybe a question from online? Yeah, including translation and everything.
Data analysis, content creation, etc.
Well, that's a very long debate. I think the fear is absolutely here. So it happened several times. The calculator. Many mathematicians say calculator is the end of math. Nobody will learn math anymore. And I had the chance to work with the director of the IHES. It's a high scientific school where they have like 8 field medals as faculty. And the director, who's a friend of mine, said, yeah, that's quote saying, oh, the calculator just elevated our level of fun. Yeah. The problem, so overall, I think it can really elevate us to a new level, to make us superhuman, because finally we have time to do other things than copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Okay? But you're right. So I'm not going to give you an answer because it's still in the air. But at the same time, I see the young kids in universities, in high school. They don't think. They Gen AI the shit out of everything, and they don't build the reasoning. They don't build the planning, which, by the way, an AI cannot do. The planning, next steps, an AI cannot do this. Maybe general AI, but that is not ready yet. And any Gen AI or AI without planning, without anticipation, without thinking, is useless. I mean, for an essay, fine, but in the real life, it's going to be a big problem. And we have a whole generation that believes they can rule the world with the blah, 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 blah of Gen AI. I think they're going to wake up, and that's not going to be fun. I engage you to listen to NVIDIA CEO's session presentation at Stanford. And to coin it, and you're going to be sensitive to this here in Ukraine, he said to the Stanford folks, what do you wish? You know, the question was, do you wish to this Stanford class? He said, I wish you to suffer. And what he meant is, guys, you've had like easy life for the past 20, 25 years. was like, yeah, you know, the only problem they had is like, I'm sorry, can I talk to the manager? I'm missing an avocado slice. It says 5 slices of avocado. Can you return this? I don't want it anymore. I mean, that's the highest problem they had. And that makes like people like so, you know, so flask. And you add Gen AI where you don't have to think anymore, that's going to be a big problem. So I love the way he said it. I wish you to suffer. Which like, whoa. And I think it's for the wrong reasons, unfortunately, but I can see the difference of grit, of bravery with the Ukrainian professionals and students I work with. And you guys have it, and I think we've lost it. Olia, next one. Thank you.
I have another
Yes.
real question. I have used artificial intelligence 3 times, like 3 different artificial intelligence in my real life for education in university. And sometimes I ask exactly the same question to different, like ChatGPT or Claude or like Perplexity, and I have different answers. Maybe you can say it as professional that use different artificial intelligence tools. Which one is better for you? Which one is great for analyzing huge data or something like Grace? And maybe you can provide such information to us.
Yes. So the point is, if you use different models, different LLMs, you're going to get different answers. And you could say, why? Because they got trained pretty much on the same data. So you highlight actually a very fascinating point, which was really illustrated by Gemini debacle. It's Google LLM, the most recent one, Gemini debacle. I'll tell you what it's all about. But you have to understand that an LLM learns from the corpus of data that is out there. Okay, let's pretend they all learn from the same, but some of them steal more data. Some of them illegally access some data. So they got more stuff, like ChatGPT and the New York Times data set that they should not have access like this. Then, as you get that data, there is a level of curation. Don't think that the AI does it itself. You have beings that come on top and are going to put filters against obscenity, against pornography, against hatred. They're also going to say, hey, AI, come on, you don't say this, you don't say that. So they're putting a layer of human. Human is here, I tell you, the alpha and the omega. We are the sources, but we also are the polishing. And that's why you have different results, radically different results. I mean, last is the algorithm, sorry. Last is the algorithm. How the machine makes the calculation, the training, how it's going to assemble its little artificial neurons to build a model. So 3 levels, which means you definitely are going to have some variation. But the one I wanted to highlight is the human layer, which led to Google Gemini's debacle. Because they said the following, and that's going to be a great segue maybe for the next topic. Yeah, so I'll go to the next topic and then we'll follow up with questions. That is, they said the internet, the world of data, is not fair, is not ethical, because that's who we are. And actually, if you go online and pick up things, you're going to find more hate than love, that's for sure. So Google said the following: we're going to put on our LLM a layer full-on diversity, inclusion, everybody's equal and nice and beautiful, like Disneyland. And the example that got everybody crazy, and apologize in advance because that's going to be a bit shocking, but we're talking data here. Somebody said, hey, Google or Gemini, can you show me photos of Nazi officers in uniform? And the Nazi officers in uniform came up, black, Asian. I mean, and then can you show me like the founding fathers of the United States, and they all came black? I mean, no offense. I mean, by the way, please don't throw anything at me, but it's okay or it's not okay, I don't know. But they put so much layer of like, we need to compensate, and we need to compensate. But it went overboard. And that's why you have a lot of variability, because that compensation, that bias that human put it depends. That's why the example I showed you earlier, they're almost immune to this. Summarizing a document, come on. I mean, maybe asking for brainstorm, but it's just a brainstorm. Doing analytics, this is pretty immune, and this is where I think we can really use a lot of Gen AI safely. All right, but remember, everything has to stay in your control. That's why we need experienced professional with expertise. And to the earlier point, saying earlier generation, I love earlier generation. That's why I'm an instructor. But they have zero experience, zero expertise, and they fakely believe they already have it thanks to Gen AI, so they're not going to learn that much. Yeah, that's going to be, yeah, you see where this is going. So anyway, now let's talk about ethics, because that's the elephant in the room. So when it comes to ethics, as an American, I love to refer to our great philosophers. You know, United States have provided the world with many philosophers. I mean, you have yours, but we have ours. And the one I love to quote today is Uncle Ben. With great power comes great responsibility. And that's what's at stake. What we can do with AI is tremendous. Actually, what we can do with analytics is already tremendous. The problem is we need to double down on our awareness, our knowledge, and then our human mindset. And here's the problem. The problem is, I need to skip a few slides to go straight to the point. The problem is, algorithms are not evil. AI is not evil. Gen AI is not evil. And that's why the people have a tendency to say, oh, should we be afraid of the algorithm? Oh, is AI ethics or not? No, I'm sorry. You know, think about a hammer. Okay, a hammer. Is a hammer ethical? Well, if I bang on nails, it's totally okay. If I bang on somebody's head, that's kind of less okay. Even though if I bang off somebody's who's trying to kill me, then maybe okay. Or maybe it's not self-defense, so it could be not okay. Wait, I mean, that's the ethical part. The hammer has nothing to do with it. And with a bit of maybe overwhelming passion, I'm sick and tired of people talking about ethics in AI, forgetting that the elephant in the room is not AI, it's ethics. AI is just a tool. A tool that reacts to the question you ask, a tool that reacts on the data you inject, a tool that also relies on the decision you make, because you can do all the ugliest thing with AI. If you don't press the action button, you're just fine. And actually, I encourage you, I mean, you will. If you run AI, you will find the ugly. Just don't press the play button. And on top of that, and that's what that was the Gemini debacle, we're all biased ourselves. So on top of that, we bring our own bias, even though we don't want to. I work with a great gentleman. He was our chief inclusion officer at Berkeley, and he joined the Central Bank of the US, and he was African American. And I had the honor to co-present with him a few times. And once again, that's going to sound shocking, but I have no problem saying it in front of African American communities or anything. But get that, he came on stage like this on a podium, grand tall man, and the topic was ethics, bias, diversity, etc. And he said, I'm a biased man. And for a second, there was like a silence in the room. Even me, for the first time, like, how come can you be biased? You're an African-American male. I'm a white male, I'm biased, but not you. And of course, he wanted the effect. And he made the point that we're all biased, no matter which side of the spectrum we are. And I think we need to comprehend that. And that's why, remember I told you about diversity and inclusion? That's why we need everybody, because for that very last point, the bias we bring, they're inherent of what we are, but together we can mitigate them and put AI on the right rails. All good, the translators? I got thumbs up. All right, so let's see how we're going to do this. I want to make sure, oh, yeah, I need to go, yeah, because I want to save some time for questions too, unless we can slightly run over. We can't, can we? Sorry? We can be, how many?
3 minutes late if you're asking about it.
Okay, we can be 3 minutes late. Okay, then you can chase me for questions if you want. Okay, so let's get moving. So, actually, this is good. I planned it this way. Now, let's talk about ethics in ethics in data. Okay, so it could be about ethics, you know, right? Oh yeah, it could be about fairness. Oh yeah, it could be about accountability. Oh yeah, sure. It could be about transparency. Oh yeah, absolutely. It could be about privacy. Oh yeah, you know, all this. The reason why I'm going super fast through them is because this is all BS. Of course, we need to be kind, fair, unbiased, private, blah, blah, blah. And that's where the vast majority of people stay. Come on, are you sure that your AI cannot, you know, is not biased? Dude, and they can't even spell AI. So that's not the point. We can blah, blah, blah about the good, the ugly, and everything. These slides, by the way, are 100% generated by AI, the last 6 ones. Why? Because I don't care talking about these things. This is, read the books. Read the philosophers. This is where the answers are. I have no lessons to give to anyone. So what I want you to understand is a few things. Okay, 10 minutes, that's awesome. Ready? This is an AI cycle. That's the CRISP DM industry standard. I mean, that's also the analytic cycle. I love these standard people. They do ugly charts, but that's what it is. But actually, it's very good. So, get that. And this is where, I mean, yeah, you're going to understand why sometimes I'm furious about people say, oh, ethics and AI, ethics and AI. This is where it all starts. An AI process, like an analytics process, starts what? Business understanding. Do you know your business? Do you have the experience, the expertise, et cetera, about what you're doing? Do I have yours? I don't. Okay? So you have your expertise. Then, which data is going to be relevant to understand my business? Which data is a predictor of my business? You know. However, the way you understand the business and the way you ask the question and the way you select your data could be extremely biased. If you don't want to move and you always want to do the same thing, well, you have like this sort of a anchor bias. If you only want to stay in what you know, then you limit yourself. I mean, biases are huge just here and here. But then you get your data, you need to prep your data. AI doesn't work on dirty data. Preparing your data, you could do damage there too. Oh, I'm removing this. Oh, I'm removing this. This now. You can also heavily bias everything that's going to follow. And then here you model. Yes, this is where Mimi learns. But that's one little thing. Basically, it doesn't take long. I mean, basically, you feed it to the machine churns like a few minutes, a few hours, a few days, and then it spits a model, which then you need to evaluate. And I've seen too many cases where, oh, it's not working, but you know what? We're going to put it out there anyway, because we're going to print money. An example, do you want a sad example? Meta, Facebook. Oh, we're going to train, you know, oh, we need people to have like caption on their photos. Great. Yeah, this is totally innocuous. Any photo could be recognized. We're going to put a caption underneath. They didn't think too much about it. Let's get some data. Let's understand the data we need. We need a lot of photos. Well, we stole photos from all our users, so we have them. And let's prep it. Let's curate these photos. And then we train. Fast forward, they receive a call by a group of African-American women that were tagged as, on their group photo on Facebook, as a group of young gorillas. This is a real story. You want to cry. Because these guys went all the way to deployment. Well, I don't know what they did for evaluation. They went all the way to deployment. Now you ask me, Was that part biased? Was the model biased? It was not. The model took a lot of photos of white males and white females. It learned and said, well, that's it. And the rest is animal. I mean, the AI just took what it was given. I mean, the AI, dangerous AI, biased AI, give me a break. The AI took what it was given. The bias, the unethical, the whatever you call it, happened here, 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 there, and there. Actually, anywhere but in the AI. So is AI ethical? No, we are not. Whew, I feel better now. And to give you an example, it happens to the best of us. I'm going to give you two last examples to finish. This is AI at work. This dates from 7 years ago. But with what I explained to you, you will understand that this was open door for failure and actually for a lot of ethical concerns. The premise of the question here, which is a real case, is how about we accelerate our recruitment by being able to select the best resumes like this? Some of you know the case? No, you don't know that case? Okay, then great. So they say, wouldn't it be great to, at Amazon, for the thousands of resumes we get, to select automatically the best ones? How do we do that? Let's call Mimi. No, not Mimi, machine learning. Hey, machine learning, we're going to give you the best resumes of the people we have in-house. And we know it's the best resumes because we know who the best people are. Features the resumes, target, they were best people. These resumes correspond to the best people. So for the machine, it's easy to build a model saying, next time I see a resume, a CV, if it looks like the good CVs you fed me with, then that's good. Super idea, isn't it? Well, here's the point. The problem is, these people never thought about a few things. First of all, recruitment is very human, and it's a sensitive topic. Discrimination, etc. I'm not sure they thought about this. But the kicker is, and plus, recruitment is more so with the heart. I mean, the resume doesn't cut it. Even more so today with ChatGPT resumes. But the kicker is they just forgot something that, and you want to facepalm yourself. I'm going to stop. I mean, yesterday with the veterans, I facepalmed myself like a few times, and I hurt myself. Because oh my gosh, he hurts. I was like, so I'm not going to do it. Oh yeah, facepalm still. All right. What they forgot is, what did they train the machine learning on? On good resumes from good data scientists. It was a data science position. Well, 70%, 70% of the data scientists, more or less, were males. So I would say the best data scientists were males. So when you tell the machine, here are the best resume of the best data scientists, which are all males, the machine says, well, the best data scientists are males, white, in their 20s. I mean, what you want the machine to say otherwise? I mean, actually, the machine would be wrong if it would say, oh no, it's black females. So of course it says it's white males in their 20s, and they realized the machine was sexist. No, the machine was not sexist. People were clueless. And see, with the knowledge you got this morning, you would have called this out. Now let's finish with some scare. There we go. I love this one. This one I borrowed from Vivek Nair, a researcher that works at Berkeley. Actually, he finished his PhD. And I had him a few times, and we shared actually, I enjoyed inviting him for panels. He was not a super presenter, but on panels, oh my gosh, I could get him to give you the juice of his research. Fasten your safety belt. This is our grand finale, people. So you thought AI, it was going to be like unethical and everything. Well, people are, not AI. But now I'm going to show you what you can do beyond features, beyond cookies, or beyond the photos you post on Instagram that that Meta reuses and uses and uses. I'm going to tell you the reason why Zuckerberg is so interested in the metaverse. Why did he sink $10 billion in the metaverse? Oh, poor Zuckerberg. He's a neighbor, Zuckerberg. He's gonna blow my tires when I come back. But come on, hey, freedom of speech. So this is the experiment that Vivek did. So they let people play for 20 minutes in that virtual environment with the sensors, the mask, and everything. And without telling them what they had to do, they say, hey, you're going to, whoop, whoop. Ooh, yes, I need to press buttons. Bonk, bonk. I need to read stuff here, like the code. Where is it? Oh, I read the code. To check, yeah. Then maybe I need to find a name, a noun written somewhere. So they were doing a few tasks, interact with the world, the virtual world they were in. While they were doing this, they were being pinged to be geolocalized. We're using latency, they could somewhat geolocalize them. And also, thanks to the VR, they could be measured in the way they were walking in the room, like this. Fast forward, and here, well, I'm gonna, unfortunately, well, it's gonna be hard to read though, but that's okay, it's even better, because I can't zoom and de-zoom. You can't read, I'm gonna have to walk you through this. After 20 minutes of playing with VR, this is what they learn about their people. The height, arm length, some physical features, visual acuity, and of course, all their equipment. Okay? That they learn. But using machine learning, they could make inferences, because these are features. Features go in, inference go out. If you have enough samples from society, you can guess what these features can connect to. And that's what they did. They could predict from this game on VR with 100% accuracy the gender, with 100% accuracy the age, with 100% accuracy the ethnicity, with 100% within 25K the income, and 100% the disability status. These are, I mean, you get this with GDPR, you don't even go to jail. You're being sent to Mars with no AI to help you. And this was an experiment they run. I mean, isn't that scary? So people say, I mean, this is where the law, the regulations are, I mean, I'm not complaining, but they're so behind. Forget the cookies. They're so happy, no more cookies. Well, play VR 20 minutes, you just surrender all your biometrics and then more. And the problem is, icing on the cake is that data was on your VR set, that was shared with your application, that was shared with the server, that we shared with all the other users. Which means for the hacker, 4 ways to get your biometric. And the problem is, you know, what happens when somebody steals your password? What happens? What do? You change it. Yeah, good security, cyber security people. This is the Ukraine I love. So yeah. So you go from password 123 to password 1234. Yeah, the longer the better, right? The thing is, you can't change your biometric signature. It is what it is. And you're just sharing it all the way with the rest of the world. See, that's going to be nasty. And the level of AI you can apply to this to make even more inferences, I mean, forget secrets. Now, the worst part, oh, we're almost there. Oh, yeah, you're going to be so proud of me. 3 more minutes, look at that. Late for questions, maybe. This is what's coming to us. By, let's say, this is a true experiment shared by Peter Abil. You stand in a scanner, and I'm going to look at your little neurologic blips. You know, I'm going to measure I'm losing my impulsions, cerebral impulsions, as you look at images. Okay? You look at many images, and the machine learns from these impulsions, connecting the impulsion to the image. And then I say, great, are you trained? Yes. Kit, Levica, Tigre, but like a level more. And then I say, look at this image. The machine gets your impulsion and can make the inference of what you're looking at. And the results you see here, the teddy bear, the plane, the clock tower, the train, these are, the bottom ones are what the machine guessed you were looking at when you were watching the top picture. This is a reality, my friend. Now, the good news is, well, I have the app. No, it requires a big scanner and a lot of time. But sooner or later, like, zzz, ooh. All right. So yeah, of course, generative AI, generative AI is promising to be also a shit show. And you alluded to these questions because so many things are happening way too fast. But let's forget also about GPT and company. We have some AI applications with surveillance, security camera, VR that are going to get way, way deeper into our private lives. So you have it. It's time to conclude now. How do I conclude that? Yeah, I think I can show you that slide. Absolutely. Yeah. Woohoo. All right. It's a long slide, but I want to, I just want to tell you the bottom line. Only you can really make sure that data, AI, analytics are ethics, well applied, impactful. The machines are going to help you a lot in that respect, but without your right question, your right ideas, and the action you take, it's going to be totally moot. So the reason why also I teach these classes and I do these sessions is to make sure all of you understand what you're talking about and you can explain it to the people around you. There's no point to be fearful of everything, but we got to understand how it works to decide how we're going to make it work in the good way. So I told you, I have one bias, inclusive AI, diversity in AI and in data. That's why I'm here today. And well, I hope I can leave you with that mission to go around and apply this AI in a human, sustainable, and ethical way. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, we did it. All right, let's take some questions until I'm kicked out, and then buy me a coffee, and I'll be happy to answer more.
Yes. My question is about, today we speak about a lot of advantages of Gen AI and so on. But also we speak today about real usage, Gen AI in real enterprises. And my question is, what do you see, what's the most top risks for using generative AI for enterprises? And maybe you advise us what will be the best way to make this trip and adaptive AI enterprises the most powerful and maybe most useful.
Yes. All right, so what are the bad way, dangerous way to use generative AI? The first one is just load your data into generative AI and share everything you have in generative AI in a model that is not yours. I think that is dangerous because you're feeding the beast. The Gen AI will learn from your data, from your questions. So I'm not saying there is like direct issue, but still it's like, hey, I'm loading some documents of mine in the cloud and I don't know what the cloud's going to do with it. Google Drive, it pretty much remains yours, but you know what? Google knows. Generative AI is a bit of the same thing. You load your document and generative AI will learn from it. And eventually maybe somebody asking a question might get an answer from your document. So I think that's the first thing. That's why I encourage you to get your own private LLM. That's what large companies are starting to do. I work for L'Oréal. There is L'Oréal GPT. That's it. Nissan is like, they want to do the same. So Allianz, they want to do the same. Like 3 companies I'm working with right now, they all have or planning to have it just to cut this. That's danger number 1. Danger number 2, I think, is thinking that this is general AI. That is human AI. It's not. And asking too broad questions like, oh, can you solve world hunger? Of course, you're going to have a lot of nonsense. So that's the other error. That's why a lot of young kids, are going to go with like, oh, they're going to ask broad problems because they can't plan and chunk them into small steps or logical steps. I think that's the second problem. The third problem is it will happen. Just people saying, yeah, it's okay, copy, paste, done. You still need to make your brain function. So to avoid all this, I think do crazy stuff, I recommend, because it's evolving every day, but start understanding where Gen AI really works well without danger and double down on this. the level of productivity you can gain just using the few examples I gave to you. You know, AI coding, generative AI coding, summarizing, brainstorming, and rapid fire analytics. This is pretty safe, and well, once you have saved all the time with this, then you'll move on. Thank you. I mean, I'll follow our master of ceremony. Yeah. Please.
I have a quick question regarding to whom in the end belongs copyrights. If I creator, he creator, or we both?
Oh, so there is actually a recent decision of US court. So, two levels. Some people are arguing that generative AI used some content that was private. That's what the post. Now, the post said, "Hey, you use." Oh yeah, that was the post. I think you use our content, and you had no right to mine our articles like this. That's the first one. Some artists also. You say you mined our production to train your model. So this, I think the ball is still in the air. But one thing they ruled is if you create something with Gen AI, you did not create it, the machine created it, and therefore you cannot put copyrights on it. That is, you can say, hey, I can create my own art, I can create my own logo, but you cannot copyright it. So I can take it, and you can argue, yeah, it's made by a machine, not you, so I can have it too. So I think that's the two sides of the sword. And oh, excellent, yeah, Mike is coming.
Hello. Sorry for my English, I am Ukrainian.
Oh, come on, that's okay. Sorry for my Ukrainian, I'm American.
I translate in AI.
I love it.
The questions is who and how keeps all AI under control so that the machine uprising doesn't begin?
Oh.
Yes. And second questions, can't AI by its decision get out of control and start generating its alternative vision of the formation of the world order? If no, I can get out of control. When, why not?
Yes, yes. So a few levels of answer. I encourage you, and this guy is going to have so many followers from Ukraine. Yann Lequin, Y-A-N, Yann, Y-A-N, Lequin, L-E-C-U-N-N or N. Follow him on Twitter or LinkedIn. He has a lot of thinking about what you just described. And of course, he's biased, but a lot of people come to say, I disagree, I agree. This guy is no less than the chief data science officer at Meta. He won the Turing Award, which says a lot about his mathematician abilities, highly regarded. He's a good guy to follow in these topics. He loves these topics. So not to bypass, to paraphrase what he said, because he's way better. But okay, the summary of what I heard about this. Machine taking over the world. We need general AI to do this. It's not tomorrow. Nobody really knows. Zuck is after it. That's one thing. The second thing, even if it's getting there, there's a debate saying, is it in the interest of the machine to take over the world? And Lequin says, I don't think the machine don't care. I mean, that's the problem. The machine doesn't care what the world is. So it may not be that obvious that machine want to take over the world. And one joke is about, yeah, if a machine wants to take over the world, I just pull the plug. But that's a very light answer to your very deep question. Follow Yann Lequin and his peers. And also, come back to some classic novelists, because they somewhat anticipated what it could look like. Blend the two, and like all of us, try to find an answer. Yeah. I wish I had the answer. I would write a book and would be a millionaire.
Gauthier, thank you so much for your inspiring and useful speech. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Колеги, на цьому...
Dear colleagues, that brings us to our coffee break. Dear colleagues online, we have time until 13:30. You have a break now.